who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family.
So at least two of the Republicans that met with Hegseth yesterday, Senators Mike Rounds and Rick Scott, did express support for him later in the day.
I know that there's allegations out there. They have been unsubstantiated at this stage of the game. I talked to him about that. I gave him some suggestions, some advice about how he might be able to handle that. I'm looking forward to getting information from him in terms of responding to those allegations. But I really do see a path forward for him to be successful in being accepted by the Senate for this position.
I just had a great meeting with Pete, the next Secretary of Defense. I think he's going to do a great job. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he's confirmed as the Secretary of Defense. I think we all have to really appreciate the people that are willing to put on the uniform and defend the freedom of this country.
Hegseth, of course, can only afford to lose 3 Republican votes if all Democrats vote against him, which is as expected. So let's take a look at what Senator Joni Ernst said on Fox News yesterday.
I did have a very long, lengthy discussion with Pete yesterday, and I do appreciate his service to the nation. I also am a combat veteran. So we talked about a number of those issues, and we will continue with the vetting process. I think that that is incredibly important. So again, all I'm saying is we had a very frank and productive discussion, and I know that we will continue to have conversation in the upcoming months.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared, and that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process.
Meanwhile, a group of nearly 100 former national security officials are sounding the alarm over President-elect Trump's decision to tap former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to be Director of National Intelligence. Writing in a letter that was addressed to Senate leadership, the group says it was alarmed to hear of Gabbard's nomination due to her, quote, history of sympathy for dictators like Vladimir Putin and Bashar al-Assad of Syria. In addition, security officials note that Gabbard would be the least experienced Director of National Intelligence since that position was created back in 2004. With that in mind, the group urges the Senate to carefully evaluate Gabbard through closed-door hearings that would give lawmakers the opportunity to review government files on the D&I pick. Elsewhere on Capitol Hill, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy were meeting yesterday with Republican lawmakers. They are the co-leaders of the new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Musk had a private meeting yesterday morning with incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune, while Ramaswamy met behind closed doors with a group of 15 Senate Republicans. Musk has repeatedly faced questions about potential conflicts of interest in advising on the federal budget. His company, SpaceX, is a major federal contractor with the Defense Department and NASA. And according to Ramaswamy, one of their potential cuts is a $6.6 billion loan to electric vehicle maker Rivian, the automotive company that's a competitor to Tesla. Musk has not said how or if he plans to resolve those conflicts. Later in the day, both men met with House and Senate Republicans. Here's what House Speaker Mike Johnson had to say about the DOGE leaders.
We're all excited. I know you're all excited that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have joined us today. This is an important day. It's the beginning of a journey. You've heard what DOGE is all about, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's a new thing, and this is a new day in Washington and a new day in America.
Joining us now, White House reporter for Bloomberg, Akayla Gardner. Akayla, good to see you again. Thanks for starting us off this morning. Let's start there with these DOGE meetings. Musk, Ramaswamy, various Republican lawmakers. DOGE's mandate is still so vague and so broad. It's not quite clear what authority they'll have or how effective they'll be. Some of the cuts, though, they've talked about could be really deep and frankly painful for a lot of Americans. What's the latest you've heard?
Yeah, this initiative is still very interesting because, for one, they do not yet have funding. It's unclear how they will hire staffers, and it's sort of outside of government, this quasi-government organization. But we saw Musk and Ramaswamy on the Hill yesterday speaking to lawmakers, and I think something that they're really going to have to face is the starkness of what it takes to actually do some of these things. They're really going to need cooperation from Congress, who, of course, has the power of the purse. But they believe that they're going to be able to make cuts simply through executive action. They have not answered straight questions about exactly what would be on the chopping block, but for sure they have made clear that they believe that there's too many federal workers. They want to see layoffs. They want to see people leaving the government. But some things that are really the biggest things on the ticket would be defense spending, entitlement programs, Medicare, Social Security. But touching any of those things would be deeply unpopular. Those are all have really strong bipartisan support. So it's really going to be interesting to see where they can actually find cuts, because really everything left on the table does not really amount to much, and not really the goals that they're trying to meet, which is trillions of dollars in federal spending.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This will be a very important storyline to follow in the weeks ahead. Let's talk about the other big news on Capitol Hill yesterday, which is Pete Hegseth continues his quest to win over enough Senate Republicans to be named defense secretary. There's been reporting this week that there could be as many as 6, 8 Republican senators who will say no. They're just not willing to do publicly yet. What do your sources tell you and your colleagues about Hegseth's chances right now?
Well, Hegseth has really been defiant against these allegations, multiple that have been coming out in the recent days, some about alcohol abuse, some about sexual assault, some about mismanagement of veterans organizations. He strongly denies all of those. He went on Megyn Kelly's show really talking about this for almost an hour. But really the key person to watch is Senator Joni Ernst. She is someone who's very respected, particularly on issues of the military and national security with her colleagues. She's really been the only person publicly to come out and suggest that she is not ready to support him. She is someone who also has a memoir where she details her own survival of rape and sexual assault. So she is someone who feels very strongly about these issues. She also has a daughter who is in the military, and Hegseth has been someone who has suggested that women should not be in the military. So these are some really controversial ideas. But we have had a reporting from my colleagues that Ron DeSantis is someone who's already had talks with the president's team about being a replacement potentially for Hegseth. So you can already see there that the Trump team has concerns about his ability to be confirmed. And this is really a conflict with Trump's anti-establishment rhetoric and really a lot of the nominees that he has up for grabs here, and the Senate, which still has a lot of old school people that really want to see people who are qualified, that they're going to be comfortable with, and people who still, frankly, respect bureaucracy.
And lastly and briefly, Akela, before you go, President-elect Trump has largely laid low at Mar-a-Lago since his election win, but he's heading abroad this weekend, his first such trip since that victory. And he's going to Paris for the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral. What's the sense, though, what this moment will be like as he re-enters the world stage just a few weeks before taking the White House?
Yeah, Trump is expected tomorrow to travel to Paris for this reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral, which suffered a devastating fire 5 years ago and was destroyed. It's now being rebuilt. But as you mentioned, Trump has in some ways already been on the world stage. He's had multiple calls with world leaders. He also had Canada's Trudeau in Mar-a-Lago, where they met and spoke about tariffs. He's also had Netanyahu's wife at Mar-a-Lago, and we saw him in recent days make this really strong statement about releasing hostages, saying that there will be, quote, hell to pay if hostages are not released by the time that he takes office. Netanyahu strongly supported that statement. So we're already seeing him really take up space when it comes to foreign policy and really asserting himself before he even takes office.
All right, and we will have a live report from Paris coming up a little later on Morning Joe. White House reporter for Bloomberg, Akela Gardner. Akela, thanks for starting us off this morning. Have a good weekend. Meanwhile, another headline here. The manhunt continues for the gunman who shot and killed the CEO of United Healthcare. New York City police released these photos yesterday of a person wanted for questioning in connection to the death of Brian Thompson. Pretty clear shot. Officials say they received a tip that the shooter was staying at an Upper West Side hostel where these images were taken. Two law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation tell NBC News that police are now looking into whether the person used a fake ID and paid with cash to rent a room. Police also believe that the gunman traveled to the city late last month. Three law enforcement officials tell NBC News the suspect may have taken a Greyhound bus from Atlanta on November 24th. Thompson was killed outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan early Wednesday morning. Police say they've recovered a potential cell phone from the gunman. The phone was found in a trash can in a plaza that the suspect fled through after the shooting. A water bottle and protein bar wrapper were also in that garbage can. Police believe the gunman bought those items from a Starbucks just minutes before the attack. Shell cases at the scene had words written on them, words associated with the healthcare insurance industry. Police, though, still looking for a motive. Next up here, a shouting match breaks out between the head of the Secret Service and a Republican congressman. We'll show you that explosive moment that occurred on Capitol Hill yesterday. Plus, House Republicans have voted to block the release of the Matt Gaetz ethics report, at least for now. Those stories and a check on sports and weather when we come right back.
The Real Real, authenticated luxury resale. Thousands of rare, totally unique finds for everyone you love, including yourself.
The Prada Girl, the Hermes Collector, the Louis Vuitton Obsessed.
The Watch Connoisseur, the Hype Beast.
I love Fendi.
Marni, Dries,
Rolex.
Vintage Tiffany. Everything sparkly, plus Gucci, Cartier, Dior, and more.
Over 10,000 new arrivals every day.
All up to 90% off retail.
For you, for them, for all. Love The Real Real.
Shop now and get 20% off at therealreal.com. Terms apply.
Want to step up your kids' lunch game? Thrive Market can help. We're the online grocery store that delivers thousands of healthier options they'll love. From low-sugar snacks to high-protein staples, all up to 30% off. Here you'll find high-quality, organic, and sustainable brands vetted by our in-house experts who restrict 1,000-plus ingredients. So you can shop worry-free, knowing you'll never sacrifice on quality or taste. No more picky eaters here. Join today and get a free gift and 40% off your first order.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide. Switch to fast setup and even faster checkouts. Switch to making every sale the way you want and the way they want, too. Switch to one system connecting every tool to every task, even as your business grows. Gain time and peace of mind with tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
What is sport? It's more than training at dawn and drills after dark. It goes beyond the gym, through city streets, and on to the stage. Sport inspires, it entertains, and challenges. So ask yourself, is this sport? Yeah, even that. Sport is everywhere, for everyone. Sport is everything.
How can your small business rev up holiday sales? By advertising on TikTok.
We saw a 200% increase in sales after running TikTok ads.
Our orders went from 5 a day to over 250 orders a day.
For every $1 we spent on TikTok ads, we made over $10 in sales.
Drive more customers to your website or sell products right in the app, just like these business owners did. Want amazing results? You have to start now. We'll even give you ad credits to help kick things off. Don't miss out. Don't wait. Get started today.
Each week on my